You're listening to Swingology, a lifestyle podcast. Swingology is for adult entertainment only, and we're not licensed professionals. Our show features adult themes, language, and descriptions of sexual acts and desires. If you're under 18, this is not the show for you. The ideas and opinions expressed are those of the speaker only and not of any company or entity, and should not be considered professional advice. Now, let's stimulate your mind. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Swingology, a lifestyle podcast. We are your host, Tori Kist.
And Steve Kist.
And today we're going to be going down memory lane. We are going to be talking about our favorite memories at the various lifestyle locations that we have visited.
Absolutely. There's so many things that we can share that you can benefit from. And so let's go ahead and dive into that.
So my favorite place that we have been to is internationally, because, you know, your girl likes to travel. It's in Jamaica, over in Negril, at the far, far, far west point, called Hedoism 2, also known as Hedo.
Of course, everyone's going to ask, was there a Hedo 1? Why is there a Hedo 2? And I did hear that there was a Hedo 3, but at the end of the day, the only one that really matters is hedonism. It's a fantastic place. I think that anyone who is in the lifestyle should go there at least once.
There is a trip to get there. So not only do you have to fly to Montego Bay, you have to get into a bus that takes you all around the island to the most western point in Negril. And that is about, how long was that trip? An hour?
It was
2
about
hours?
an hour, yeah.
Maybe 2 hours even. It was a long trip. And if anyone has not been to Jamaica, the topography there, it's actually a mountain. So you're driving on the edge of a mountain sometimes, and it's not exactly a first world country. So it's very unique destination. There's a crowd, there's traffic, there's lots of old cars, and it's beautiful, though. The ocean is always right there out your window. When you pull in to Hedoism property, the Hedo property, there's like a big white gate. They open the gates, your bus or your van pulls in. It's like a whole nother world.
One thing that I found immediately interesting is that there was really no door to separate the outside and the inside of the lobby area. It was just a complete walkthrough, and you can continue walking through to the other side to where the pool is. There's just no separation door. And so I was like, thankfully we were there at a good time of year when it wasn't scalding hot, because that was like, it was already a little warm enough for me, and it would have been uncomfortable, I think, if it was like another 10 degrees warmer.
So we went during February 2021, and that is actually when we got married, by the way. We got married at Hedoism. And yeah, so there wasn't a door. I think that they have the slide away door. So they were slid away, they were hidden, because they have to close up and lock up their stuff because there's computers in that lobby. So, and if bad weather comes through, they have to protect the lobby somehow. But you're right, there's not air conditioning on the regular. In
the main lobby area. Of
right.
course, all the other locations like the dinners and the rooms. And
the dinners didn't have air conditioning.
Sure they did.
The main food court was open. With the stage where we went for the nightly show, it was all open.
The Italian place was the...
Correct, yeah. The Italian place had a air conditioner, had a door to close it off. I think there was one other place.
The Asian place.
Yeah. You guys remember COVID was 2020 and 2021. We were going through the lockdown and 6 feet distance and all of that. So the nightclub was actually closed at Hedoism because of that. They didn't want people to be close together.
Which was hilarious because we're at a lifestyle resort where people are interacting and having rampant sex. But God forbid we enter the dance floor and dance in close proximity.
I'm sure that was more of a country or jurisdictional type of restriction because the playroom was open. Now, the playroom is open. Like, when you enter the playroom area at Hedoism, we went at night. I remember being on some of the beds and just looking up and seeing the stars. And then there's like water features all around. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, so some of the rooms have your typical playroom equipment, like the cross and BDSM and benches and that kind of thing.
In the playroom.
Yeah.
Not in the private hotel rooms.
In the orgy, I guess I would call it the foyer, the orgy foyer, that is open to the sky. So in inclement weather, obviously that's not going to work out too well. But for the clear nights, like the nights we went there, it was breathtaking.
So the nice thing about Hedoism is that it's located right next to Sandals Negril. And so there is a shared beach between Sandals and Hedoism, so that there is actually a fence that separates the beach, but you can go through and see the other side. So that's what Steve and I did. In the beginning, we were not as open and forthcoming of being in the lifestyle with our friends and family, so we told everyone we're going to Sandals Negril, and we went over there, walked through, went to the gift shop, bought a towel, and took some pictures. And so the pictures that we showed back in the day, our friends and family, they were of the Sandals side of being in Jamaica. Our lifestyle friends is what we showed, the Hedoism side. But now we have opened up to our friends and family about our lifestyle, and so it's not a taboo subject anymore, so they saw more happy, more authentic us on our wedding trip.
So one of the interesting things about Hedoism is that it's not just for people that are interested in other play partners. It's also there to cater to strictly nudists. There is a nude side of the resort and a prude side of the resort. Now, these names were come up by the resort staff themselves. They will tell you what side is the nude side and what is the prude side. And there's a line on the property that indicates you are now crossing into the nude zone.
If you go to the nude side, you have to be nude. The security will come up and say, excuse me, you can't be over here unless you're nude. But I will say the prude side, which means you can cover up, wear your swimsuit or whatever, or you can be nude. That's fine too. That's the side that kind of segues into Sandals. So, it's like a slow...
It's a slow transition for people that don't want to turn the corner of the beach and see a whole flock of people with no clothes on.
Nudists. And there were some nudists there, not swingers. So it's not just for swingers and lifestyle people. But I do want to point out the prude side had more of the hammocks in the shade, more relaxing, quiet areas. They had what I think is the more beautiful pools, and they had more pools. The nude side had the party pool where they had the loud music and the entertainers out there all the time. They had a swim up bar out there as well as a grill where you could order food. So you don't have to get dressed and go over to the prude side in order to get your food. You could do that on the nude side.
The swim up bar was great. It was amazing. I think the food, though, you had to get out of the pool to eat the food.
Well, no, I do remember they had two of the shade tables built into the pool down in the water, and I remember having fries that got soggy.
The whole swim up to the bar was a real win for that location, and it was primarily the to-go-to place.
There's a story of you at that swim up bar that I remember, and I'd like to share it with our listeners.
Okay.
So my husband, as you guys probably already know, he really likes his silicone lube because it doesn't dissolve and wash away in water.
So silicone lube is superior to water-based lube for a number of reasons. One, it doesn't get sticky, so it lasts much longer. And when you enter the water with silicone lube, it's still there.
Yep. So here's my story. As you guys you already just painted the picture. I remember there was this very sexy Hispanic couple from New York visiting. I think that was our last day there. Maybe the night before last. And I was totally eyeing the guy. He had that pretty boy type of Hispanic look. And you were looking at the girl, and they came up next to us. We started talking. And she grabbed your cock and realized that it had lube on it. And so she slid it up inside of her.
I remember she had no idea that it had already had lube on it. And then when she grabbed it and she realized it did, she was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and do something with that then. And we were just kind of bobbing there in the water, chatting, communicating with other people. She's rubbing her hips on mine. And anyone watching might have thought that, she was just kind of dry humping. But no, there was full-on penetration going on there.
That's awesome. I love it. What is one of your favorite stories from our visit to Hedoism besides getting married?
I think one of my favorite stories, there in the pool, there is a second level to the pool. I know it's very hard to imagine this.
Kind of like a hot tub, but it wasn't a hot tub. And it was overflowing into the main pool.
She's all right about that. So we were up in the elevated pool area. We were just kind of all about each other, getting turned on with each other. And then suddenly my wife's brat came out, and I needed, of course, to put her in her place. And so I did with some face pops. And then we started legit putting on a CNC show for everyone to observe and enjoy. I just remember bending her over after she felt like she couldn't resist anymore and just kind of like pounding her in front of everybody. We had the entire resort, like all eyes were on us at that point.
So yeah, we were making out, right? We were getting really all into it and passionate. And then he kind of made a movement like on my chin, and it just kind of was like, I'm going to control you. And then I was like, you're going to control me. In my head, I was like, what? And my breath came out. I was like, no, you're not. And he did a gentle pop on my face.
There was nothing gentle about it.
Well, it wasn't painful.
It was domestic violence.
I'm trying to get away from that. And what I did is I turned and I did the same thing right back. And when I did that, everyone in the pool looked up at us. We're like, wait, what are they doing? And that's when our CNC episode kind of started. And he flipped me over and started hitting me from the back. And then I was like, I need a cock in my mouth. And this guy was like, I volunteer.
I volunteer as tribute.
That was hilarious. That was fantastic.
That was a good day.
Yeah. Okay, my love. Anything else you want to talk about with hedoism before we move on to our next resorts?
Some little cute tradition that Hedo has is on the way out of Hedo, as you're leaving, the current residents of Hedo will stand out and give you a big moon. Everyone will expose their asses to you as you leave, as you're going away farewell present.
It's absolutely hilarious. So we're backing up our stuff. We're putting it in the van. People are like helping us. They're like, yeah, I'm here for another 2 days. I'm like, okay, well, enjoy yourself. And we load up on the bus to leave. And then as we're pulling out, they all go to the entrance and they pull down their panties or their boxers and they moon us. Absolutely hilarious.
All right. So our next, I think our only real other international brick establishment that we went to was Temptations in Cancun. The neighborhood in Cancun was walkable. Like, there was nowhere really to walk when you were in Hedo. There's no interacting. Was there any place over in Hedo? I think someone said there was something, but I don't think we ever left.
The only thing that we did in Hedoism was walk to Sandals. We stayed on Hedo property, and then we also had an excursion company come pick us up and take us to their location. But walking off property, it honestly looked sketchy.
Yeah, so that's not something that would happen. However, in Cancun Temptations, it was more like any large metropolitan city.
It looked clean, and it looked like it was hotel row. So there was just resort, all of these resorts. So it was like a bunch of visitors were staying, and they were keeping it tidy and nice.
So the first thing that I appreciated when I went to Temptations was that their lobby was enclosed and it was air conditioned. And I'm like, okay, this is great.
Oh, it's very clean inside.
How many floors did that building have? Like 15? It had like 15 floors. So there's several areas where you can take the elevators up and down.
From what I gather about Temptations is that it's made for people that not nudist, okay, and they don't have a playroom. So if you're going to swing, you swing in your private hotel room. So you're going to want to vibe with people out in the main pool or at the parties and take them back to your hotel room because there's no actual playroom. So we recommend going during a lifestyle takeover event, because more than likely the lifestyle takeover host is going to create a playroom for you. But if you're just a newbie couple and you kind of want to just, dab a little and like not be thrown in completely, that's a great place to go.
For me, my takeaway from Temptations Cancun is that this is a quote unquote lifestyle establishment, but it's really just a party resort, mainly for vanilla people that feel like they're pushing boundaries by going topless. That's really it. Yeah. It's a vanilla resort. People are topless. Ooh, that's the spicy part, and that's the extent of it.
And for some people, that is spicy. I mean, like, for example, me, back when you met me, I wasn't even a topless type of person, so that would have been so spicy for me. But, I mean, I dived in the lifestyle, so I was looking for a playroom at that point.
Right. And so unless you really love the party scene, I think there are other locations that you would probably be better suited to actual lifestylers.
Now, we did do the Temptations cruise, and that is a very different experience than the Temptations resort. So the Temptations cruise has a playroom on site or on the ship. So if you guys don't know, the swinger cruises, they will buy out a cruise ship, like for a sailing, for example. And this particular Temptations cruise was the Celebrity Summit in February of 22. And so we're on the Celebrity Summit. It's a celebrity cruise. There's the celebrity cruise ship staff, but there's also the Temptations aspect of it. They had the party theme going on, and they had created a playroom area, and then they had classes or something.
It was tantric classes, and there was intimacy classes and sex coaching, and there was different educators there for different classes. And when you walk into your room, there's a list there of what classes are taking place at what parts of the ship and at what times of the day.
So that is our experience on the Temptations cruise. It is a smaller ship, so you have less people. We are actually going to be going on the Bliss cruise November 2024 and November 2025. We have our rooms, balcony rooms, of course, and we're so excited. We actually know quite a few people that will be on the 2024 sailing. We can tell you guys when we return in another episode, forthcoming, all about it, and we will compare the Temptations cruise versus the Bliss cruise. But we're so excited.
I think we actually forgot about describing the cruise itself. I mean, we talked about the fact that it had playrooms and sex coaching, but there was, of course, everything a normal cruise ship has, the cruise had, of course. But then in terms of what is lifestyle, there was an area of the cruise ship that was nudity allowed, or was it just topless?
On the Celebrity Summit, for a regular sailing, there is the adults only solarium with a pool. That area was created to be nude friendly, but the other main pool, you had to have on a swimsuit.
Well, I think the main pool was topless, wasn't it?
Yes, you're right.
So the main pool was topless. There was a special pool in the solarium that was full nudity allowed. No play was allowed anywhere in public areas. That had to all be done in your private cabin.
Or the playroom that they made.
Right.
Which was open, I think, the whole time. Did they have it any time they were closed?
There were time frames when it was open and when it was closed.
Let me tell you guys something about this playroom. It was a nice playroom. There were curtains, so if you wanted to separate yourself a little bit, you could. It was plenty of mattresses. They had a cleaning staff that would go through and wipe down the mattress. They had sheets. So we've been to some establishments, and we'll talk about it coming up in this episode, so stay tuned, that there's some places that they don't use sheets, and how do you clean the mattress? So that's just kind of gross, right? Well, this place, they really took care of the playroom. It was tidy and clean, so highly recommend that if you're looking for a lifestyle cruise.
I remember one experience that we had on the Temptations cruise. You had a bad case of seasickness that you couldn't shake.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, guys. So I don't experience seasickness normally. I've been on a handful of cruises and boats, and I don't normally get sick, but for some reason, I was sick. Now, I came prepared because, I'm a mom. I've learned how to prepare for things. So just in case someone around me gets sick, I want to have medicine to help them. So I had the patch behind my ears. I had the tablet that I would suck under my tongue. And then I also had the wrist pressure point bands. Nothing helped.
Of course, you can't be sexy and flirty and fun when you're feeling nauseous. It got to the point where she was just like, listen, babe, this cruise ship has got me out for the count. You just leave and go have fun. Get what you can out of the experience.
Yeah, so that was a first for us. I gave him a hall pass. And, we will talk more about this in an upcoming episode that I already have on the schedule, Temptations Cancun versus Temptations Cruise. So hang tight for that episode to come through. But for a while, you were a single male on the cruise ship.
Yes.
But that's going to be in that episode.
Yes. We'll talk about it then.
All right. So that is our extent of international lifestyle locations. Obviously, we have a lot more places we need to visit, and, can't wait to get that scheduled.
If there's a lifestyle establishment internationally that we should go see, please go ahead and reach out to us on Instagram and let us know that establishment.
Yeah, send us a private chat.
There you go. And let us know what your experience was and why we should go there.
Okay. So of the domestic locations that we've been to, I think the most popular lifestyle place is Trapeze. And Trapeze has 2 locations. One is their primary location in Atlanta, Georgia, and their secondary location is in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We have had the opportunity to go to both locations. We've been to Fort Lauderdale 2 or 3 times and Atlanta 1 time. And so let's talk about what we think about that swinger club, because it's not a swinger resort, that's a swinger club, and the differences.
So like she said, it's definitely a club atmosphere. One of the first things that I noticed is that this establishment was full-on restaurant service food.
Buffet style.
Buffet style. So you would bring it back to your table, and they had tables there. 30 feet away from the tables, there's a dance floor. There's several bars surrounding the dance floor. Off to one wall, there is the main entry doors to the playroom. It's difficult for me to vibe with people in that location, either of the Trapeze locations, because the noise is so loud. So you've got constant loud music noise for the dance floor in your eating area. You've got constant loud dance music noise on the dance floor. It's at the bars. You can't get away from it. And so if you're trying to have a one-on-one conversation, you're trying to get to know someone that you're dancing with, you have to scream in each other's ears for you to hear them. And there's nothing fun about that.
The music is very loud, is what he's saying. And I do want to point out there is one area at Trapeze Atlanta that we did like. So Trapeze Atlanta is different than Trapeze in Fort Lauderdale because they offer a VIP section. Now that VIP section comes with a hefty premium. You have to pay, like, I think it was $150 or $200 extra just to get to that little section over there. It's a nice size. It's like half the size of the place. But the benefit is that there's couches over there with a little bit quiet, muffled music. So you can actually vibe it out and talk to people and not have to scream at them. Yeah. But if you don't pay that premium, you're stuck in the front of the club where all the speakers are, and it's really, really loud.
Right. So again, there's the annual membership you have to pay. There's the night entry fee you have to pay. And then if you want to go to the VIP section, you have to pay the nightly VIP section fee.
Another benefit that they offer at Trapeze, another thing that I like, is they offer free lockers. So the Fort Lauderdale location has lockers where you go down and strip down to just a towel before you enter the playroom. Everyone has to do this. The attendant carries the key and unlocks lockers as you need to. I think you show an ID or something to get your locker number. That's how they monitor that. And the Atlanta location in the regular area, like not VIP, is the same deal. But the VIP section, after you get back there, they have these, it's kind of like upgraded lockers. They're larger, they're made of wood, they're prettier. You also have sheets. So in the Atlanta location, the front playroom that is not VIP, they don't have sheets. So you're playing on your towel, which is what you're trying to cover up with. And the back area, the VIP playroom, there are sheets back there. So that is a nice upgrade. Do you remember the playroom in Fort Lauderdale? Were there sheets? I really don't think there were. I think it was the towel.
You're right. In Fort Lauderdale, you have to bring a towel. It's towel there.
They offered towels. But
yeah, they offer towels, but your play area is the towel. So it's like you throw the towel down on the mattress, and that's your play area.
We played at the Fort Lauderdale location, and I like that there's mirrors on the ceiling, and the beds kind of are side by side touching each other along the wall, like it's almost like one giant bed. What stories do you want to talk about when it comes to the play style of playrooms?
It's just like any other lifestyle playroom. Consent is required. I would say some people do breach that communication barrier and start playing with people next to them, but by and large, I've noticed going to these clubs, I think half or more than half, they just walk in with their spouse, they play with their spouses in there, and then they leave.
I'm going to paint a picture. That's how we start, and then we see who's around us, and we start making eyes with each other, and we start smiling at each other, and then someone says, "Can I touch you?" Or you say, "Can I kiss you?" to her, and then that's normally like how it would swap.
That's generally how it would go down. If you're not into that, if you're not ready for that kind of step into playing with other people, you could just simply say no thank you, and that's the end of it.
You could also go in and sit on one of the couches and just watch and voyeur.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
When it comes to dress code and themes, I like how Trapeze has themes. And their themes might be gold. And if you come wearing gold, they might give you a little discount on the entrance fee or something like this. But they do require a dress code. So you can't just arrive in jeans and a t-shirt and flip-flops. Like, that's not allowed. You have to come nice and presentable. And if you're in theme, I believe they cut you a discount. Check their website. Things change all the time. But I remember that back when we went to Fort Lauderdale.
I think are you talking about Defy?
Defy also has a dress code. They're strict.
They're way strict. Oh, my Lord.
They're very, very strict.
The first time we went to Defy, it was on a whim. We didn't know we were going there. It was after dinner. We were like, hey, what do you want to do? We kind of checked the surrounding area. We learned about Defy. We said, let's go there. I would dress nice because we went to a nice dinner. I looked like I walked out of a GQ magazine with shorts. I had shades. I had a button-up shirt.
But shorts are not allowed there for men.
So shorts were not allowed there, and they literally said, I'm sorry, sir, you can't come in here.
They looked at me and they said...
My wife looked like a smoke show. She just was to the nines. Like, the owner looked at my wife, looked at me, just shook his head like, I can't let you in. You could tell he wanted to let us in.
But that's unfortunate. But we gave them another try. We came back like...
I didn't want to give them another try. I didn't. I was about that. I was about that for a long time. About
a year went by, and then we went back, and we had a great time. And he knew to wear pants that time. So
damn right I did. I walked in. I walked up to the front desk lady. I'm wearing pants. She goes, that's great. That's good. Of course, she doesn't know the backstory, but...
let's see. So let's talk about this place. This location, I don't know. What do you think the dimensions are? It's shaped like a rectangle. It's more long than it is wide, and it's basically cut in half. The right side is a bar, and they have the dance floor and some seats, and then the left side is where you go, the very, very, very small locker area. They have a bathroom, and then the play beds are back over there.
Yeah, I kind of seem to think it was like an L-shaped establishment.
Was it L-shaped?
It was an L-shaped, yeah. So you've got the dance floor, the lounge area, and thankfully, when we had gotten there, the music wasn't too loud. It was the right amount.
You're absolutely right. The entire time, even when we left, it was not overpowering.
It wasn't like you could have a conversation. You did have to raise your voice a little bit, but it wasn't like I had to scream like right next to your ear. Like, it was good.
So Trapeze is a BYOB, and they have their own mixers. Is Defy the same way? I don't remember.
I think we had to bring our own drink, and we brought our drink to the bar, and they served it to us. I think that's... because I remember drinking there.
They actually had a squirting contest on the day that we went.
Oh, that's so true.
We were playing and swinging because we like to jump in and play before everyone else does, because that's what we're there to do. And so we were playing, and I was just getting my squirt on, and I was cleaning up, getting ready to leave, and then they pull out the microphone back in the playroom. All right, ladies, line up for squirting contest. And you're like, babe, you want to go? I'm like, I just squirted like 3 times. I'm done for the night.
Yeah, you had already won the squirting contest, and they didn't even know the contest had started.
I had a first at that place. So one of the guys that we were playing with, there was a group of friends that we were playing with there. He came up to me on the bed with his flaccid penis, and he was like, "You want to squirt?" I'm like, "Sure, yeah. Do you need help with that?" And he was like, No. And he was like, "Open your legs." So I opened my legs, and he rubbed his flaccid penis hard on my clit a bunch of times, and out of nowhere, I just started to squirt. I've never experienced that before in my life. I was like, "How did you do that?" And he just smirked a smile and walked off.
It was such a random thing. Imagine some guy walks up to you, be like, "You want to squirt?" And he's got a flaccid dick in front of you, and you're like, "Oh, well, maybe I should help you with that first." And he's like, No. He grabs his flaccid dick and he starts rubbing it all up on you, and then all of a sudden you do squirt. You're like, "Wait a minute, what the fuck just happened?" And he's like, "Chill, later, bye, peace." And you're like, "Wait, where are you going? What happened?"
Like, I'm gonna play
That's all
now.
he wanted to do.
Like, come back, I want more.
Yeah, that's pretty random.
Yeah.
I love the randomness of these places. Another lifestyle place that we've been to is Caliente, and that's located in Florida. This location is more upscale. It's more modern. It's very clean. You can tell they've spent a lot of money on the environment, the area, that kind of thing.
Don't they have residents there?
There are some live-in residents at that location, as well as rooms that you can get for the night. I think some of the things I don't like about it is it's kind of pricey, number 1. 2 is they got rid of their playroom.
Yes, we went when they had a playroom, and it was actually quite nice. The one thing that I don't like about Caliente is that it primarily attracts the older crowd, and I personally like people my age. And so there are some people my age there, but it's primarily the older crowd. So I'm thinking 50 plus. It'd be a great place for someone 50 plus.
So yeah, the condos are all owned by people that have retired. And so half of the establishment that's present on property is in retirement age right there. And so that just kind of, it's not that other people of other ages don't go there. It's just that just by the people that live there is going to be an older age bracket just by default.
So since they closed the playroom down, did they do anything about it so people could still swing?
I heard that there was some private room somewhere and some security guard would put you in their little golf cart and they would drive you across the campus, and then there would be like a little condo dedicated for people to play. But for me, like, why do you have to be invited to that? Like, why is this all secret hush hush? Like, no one's supposed to know about it. The whole thing kind of turns me off.
That, and I think Caliente is primarily focused to be around for nudists, not necessarily for swingers. Because aren't there pools? They're nude pools.
Yeah, no playing or touching or co-touching is permitted. Like,
you know what, though? A friend of ours recently told me that after hours, when the place is kind of quieting down, the conversation pool unofficially becomes a touching area. You just can't do anything outright. Like,
they're not going to say you're allowed to do it, but if you do it, they're not going to come out and be like, don't do that again.
Right. So from our experience at Caliente, would we go back?
I would go back if there was people or someone we were going there with. Like if we were going with a group or friends or even a friend, then I would say, all right, let's go.
Yeah, because it's a beautiful place.
It is a beautiful place.
Maybe split the cost of the condo 4 ways or 6 ways with a couple swinger friends. That would be a great weekend.
Sure. Yeah, in fact, sounds like a great idea.
Let's do that for 25.
Let's table that into the calendar.
All right. We're going to do that for 25. We'll let you know how it goes because things have changed. Another place that we've been to.
Yeah, Paradise Lakes.
Yeah, Paradise Lakes is another place very, very close to Caliente that we've been to one time. And when we went, it was not a swinger-friendly establishment. It was a nudist friendly establishment. But since then, since we've been, they've changed, and now they have a playroom, I've heard.
Yeah, they have a playroom. They advertise as lifestyle friendly. So we definitely want to go back. We just haven't found time to travel that distance to get there.
It was actually scheduled in our calendar, and we paid the fee to go for Memorial Day weekend. But some friends of ours had a birthday party that weekend, and we said, you know what? We'd rather go hang out with the friends that is having a birthday than go back to Paradise Lakes not knowing what to expect. So we canceled the Paradise Lakes and went to our friend's party instead. And so glad we did.
Yeah, we had a great time. It was a good call. But now we still have to go visit Paradise Lakes, so we have to put that on the calendar too.
So Paradise Lakes is a much, much, much smaller campus and facility than Caliente. It's also not as upscale. It's very much basic.
You know, sometimes people aren't going to these places for the location. You know, they're going because of the people, and the people there are open and friendly, just like anywhere else.
And there are age.
Yeah, there was a variety of ages there. Mm-hmm. I kind of think it's a hit and miss, honestly, if I think about it, because that isn't just like Caliente. That's one of those places where there are residents on site.
Oh, there's residents at Paradise Lakes? I don't remember that.
I think there is.
Okay. It's been a while, and by a while, it's been about 2 years.
Of course, whenever you're talking about residents at a lifestyle establishment, they're retired, you know? So there's that. You just got the age thing again.
Or they're super wealthy and they have multiple residences.
Sure, that could be the exception to the rule.
Okay, so one other place in Florida that we have been to is called Secrets Hideaway. It's near Disney. It's a pretty fun place. They have various rooms of different themes, and they have pools, you know, that you can be nude at, completely nude in the pool area. That's fun. And they allow sex on the pool deck, so that's fun. And they have a playroom.
I think you downplayed the room themes. Like, they've got a room that's 007 room. They've got a room that's like an Egyptian. You got a room that's all decked out with pirate gear. There's a room that's all about anime.
I remember one time we stayed in the space theme room, and there's a spaceman wearing an astronaut outfit, and he's by the door. So at first it kind of totally scared me. I'm like, wait, what is this thing? It's like, it's the life size of a spaceman. And his hands are down at his side, kind of curved like the space gloves would have.
So naturally, I put my hard throbbing cock in his hand and let him jerk me off for a second. And I just wonder to myself, how many guys have done that?
It's the perfect height for that. It's hilarious. We've been to a couple takeovers at that location, and they can be pretty crowded.
It's a very popular location. There's a lot of people that go there from not just the locals, but from like out of town. It's a nationwide kind of a resort. So you'll get people traveling, going on cruises, and they'll make a stop at the spot. If there's a takeover, it can be like standing room only in the pool. Like all the lounge chairs are gone. All the cabanas are taken. To get water, it's like a 30-minute wait. The playrooms are great. They just redid the playrooms. They're very modern now. They refurbished the whole thing.
Yes, the first time we stayed there, it was not nice at all. Do you remember the first time? The very first, we went for, I think it was one of our birthdays.
I don't know. I think it was a basic kind of a place.
The beds
Some of the beds were broken.
And the music went really loud until like 4 a.m.
Well, that was a thing, yeah. But they've upscaled their location. They've remodernized the courtyards.
Yeah.
Pool. They just put in a $1 million pool into the location.
Really good filtration system.
They're in the middle of building a tiki restaurant. So maybe they're done by now. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've been there. In fact, we are going back in a couple months for my birthday, so that should be fun. We'll have to let you guys know how it goes. Oh, they have a dungeon on site.
Yes, dungeons are fun.
And I've been on the spider web there in the dungeon.
My wife likes sensory play, so blindfold her, cover her ears, and then just start touching her with odd instruments hanging from the walls.
Gently, though. I don't like
She doesn't
violence.
like pain.
What is one of your favorite memories from going to Secret's Hideaway in Florida?
I like the randomness, like the room crawls are great. We walked by this room. This attractive couple was just hanging at the doors. We introduced ourselves. They introduced themselves. We were playing with them within like 2.5 minutes. It was, remember?
Yes, I remember.
Oh, okay. So
I was
I'm
trying to
not
give
lying.
you, I was giving you the eyes to let's keep walking, but you didn't see me because you were already going.
What are you saying? You took one for the team that day?
Unofficially.
Oh my God. We don't do that.
But you knew that, didn't you?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you did.
You have to play with that dirty man when I tell you to.
Shh. It's the only action you're going to see.
Lies. All I hear are lies. Oh, I remember meeting one of our favorite people just walking down the hallway.
Okay.
We were walking down the hallway. People are just going from one room to another. People's doors are open. People are offering drinks and shots from their rooms. Musics are playing in various rooms, that kind of thing. We were walking by, and this gorgeous little unicorn walks by, and I just strike up like, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm fine. And then my wife was on the other side, and she's like, oh my God, you're gorgeous. And she's like, oh my God, you're gorgeous. And then she became a really great friend. In fact, we still keep in touch with her.
And it also helped that she knew one of our other friends. So we're like, oh, you're going to their room? We're going to their room too. How did you guys know each other?
Some other things that happened out of nowhere, someone decided they were going to have a squirting contest, and you were like, okay, I'm game.
Wait. Rewind. That was me. We were doing our love lap, which is what we call when we walk around this place and, any place, and we're seeing what's around. And we were invited into one of the rooms, and they were like, hey, would you like a shot? And sure, yeah, what do you have? And so I took probably Fireball or something silly. And so we're just talking, and someone talked about squirting, and that perked up both Steve and myself. We were like, okay, squirting, yeah, that's me. And they're like, oh, I squirt. And so I was like, okay, well, hey, who else squirts here? And another lady raised their hand. I'm like, after this shot, do you guys want to have a squirting contest, like back on the beds? Like, I'm not going to play, but do you want to have a squirting contest? And everyone's like, yeah. So the guys washed their hands. We went onto the beds, like 3 or 4 ladies.
I think 4 ladies got on the bed, and I had to take care of 2 of them. And then I think, was it the other guy that took care of 2, or was it 2 guys that took care of the other 2?
I don't remember, but we had people standing around our bed watching the squirting contest. I came in second, totally fine with that. But that was fun. It was just completely random.
Very random, fun, and that's this kind of environment. If you let it be that kind of environment, it'll be that way.
That was not during a takeover, by the way. a takeover, there's just too many people trying to connect with everyone, and it's like overwhelmed.
Yes, on a takeover, the best thing you can do is meet, greet, exchange information, and maybe plan on meeting up later, because you could spend sometimes it takes people 4, 5, 8 hours to vibe with someone before they feel like they are comfortable enough to want to play. And when you've got so many squirrel things going on, look to the left, squirrel, friends from out of town, friends from your local area, friends from here, you can't give anyone the kind of attention that you need to in order to get to that stage in vibing. And if you do, and then all of a sudden they're like, for whatever reason, they have to leave, or someone calls, or they get sick from over drinking.
But I do want to say that it's a fun time to have with your significant other. So the takeovers are great to connect with new people and have a good time making memories with your significant other. But if you're looking for actual play, that might happen in the playroom. I'm sure it does.
We found that the takeovers are not our play events.
And maybe we're just not the clientele for that, you know?
Yeah, I think we're just more of the loungy kind of people, and it's too crowded, packed, and loud for...
So last summer, we actually went down to Texas in Houston, and we went to a swinger location there called the Pendulum Club. Now, the Pendulum Club has 3 locations around Houston because that's a huge city. And so the location we went to was called Hempstead.
Which is their main location.
Yeah, that's their primary location, which is what we understood. We could have it wrong. And I would say that the Pendulum Club is a lot like Trapeze and Defy. I would say maybe it's more like Defy than Trapeze. They don't serve food. It is a BYOB.
There are playrooms at different sides of the area.
Yeah, and I do remember that it's very voyeur friendly. The wall that separates the club side to the playroom side is actually only a half wall with curtains. So you can like look over and watch people playing on the beds and being all sexy and stuff while you're in the club side. I also remember there's a ton of disco lights everywhere. So I actually got overstimulated because of that. When we moved our table over to the lounge area that didn't have the lights, we actually ended up being across the lounge room from a younger couple that was there with some friends. Well, we kept making eyes, and so we switched tables to be closer to them, and we totally vibed. And they said, we're here with our friends, but we actually didn't want to be here with them, whatever reasons they gave. And so we connected, and we ended up swinging, and it was fan-freaking-tastic. It was so fun. We actually went to the private rooms. We each had our own private room. So Steve went off with the wife into their private room, right side by side to us. And I could hear what was going on in their room. And they were like doing some raunchy stuff, spitting in faces and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad he's getting that attention because he likes that. It's hard to find that type of, play partner. And so I'm over in my room having my experience, and he was fantastic too, which is hard to find for me.
Yeah, it was one of the few times where it was like a 4-way that we engaged in a 4-way swap, and then we both left with a very positive 4-way experience. That, like, people say it's rare enough to meet someone and have a 4-way connection to get to the bedroom. That's rare enough as it is. But then to walk out of the bedroom with both like 5-star reviews, like that's unheard of.
Yeah, we actually invited them back to our hotel room that night and continued the play there.
I want to hear from you guys out in the audience what your favorite lifestyle establishment is, and then send us a message. Find us on Instagram.
That would be fantastic because remember, your girl's love language is travel. So, in fact, we were so close last summer of traveling to Chicago because Chicago has a secret swingers club up there, and I was going to be part of it. But, that never actually happened, never took off. But let me know what's going on in your area. Maybe we can travel to your area and go to your favorite location. Or if it's an international place, let us know.
Your homework assignment today is to go to your local lifestyle establishment and just go. If you've never been, or you're worried about going, you're wondering what's going to happen, just put all that to the side. You're going as responsible public citizens to a public place. You're going to enjoy yourselves together, and you're just going to vibe it out. Don't worry about going with expectations or trying to please other people. Just go to get the experience so you know what it's like, and then come back and have conversations about what it is that you are open to now that you've got a lay of the land. What would you like to try? What would you like to do? That kind of thing.
And remember, you're going to be paying a membership fee and an entrance fee, so don't be surprised by that. Look up on Google the location, go to the website, take a look at the themes so you can be prepared for any themes or visitors that might be coming around to that location. And for sending us a message, don't forget Instagram and Facebook, Swingology, a lifestyle podcast. That is how you find us. Sending us a private message is A-OK. And tune in next time to stimulate your mind.
Let's stimulate your mind.
Thank you so much for listening to Swingology. I'm truly honored to have you as a listener. If you liked what you've heard, consider subscribing to our podcast or connecting with us on social media. The links can be found with the episode show notes. This is Tori Kist, reminding you to stimulate your mind.